Hello viewers, this is Deepa Lakshmi. I welcome you all to Deepu's Chem classes. So, I'm putting videos based on 11th and 12th standard chemistry of Tamil Nadu government syllabus. So please share this video link to all the current 11th and 12th users so that they can easily understand the concepts. So today's class is about chemical calculations, the continuations. In order to understand the previous concepts, please refer my previous videos, part 1 to part 5. Then only it will be easy for you to understand. So I will give you the previous videos link in my descriptions. Please go through that. So let us see in this class about limiting reagent and excess reagent. Limiting reagents. So let us see, for example, if you take a chemical reaction, okay, you should take, if any two ingredients like A plus B gives products, A and B should be in a proper proportions or equal proportions. Suppose if you are taking 5 milligram of A, means the same amount should you take for B also, same 5 milligram, because equal proportions may react. Okay, suppose if you are taking unequal amount, for example A 5 milligram and B 10 milligram, means only 5 milligram of A reacts with the 5 milligram of B, okay, and not 10 milligram of B. Do you understand here? If you take 5 milligram unequal proportions, otherwise you can say non-stoichiometric proportions of reactants A and B. A is 5 milligram and B is 10 milligram. Then remember one thing, only 5 milligram of A reacts with 5 milligram of B and not with 10 milligram of B. Okay, so what happens now? Remaining 5 milligram will be 5 milligram of B will be unreacting substance. Okay, so what do you mean from this sense? It's clear well that A is completely consumed during the reaction, but B remains something. 5 milligram of B remains in excess. Okay, A is completely consumed. The one which completely consumed limits the extent of the reaction. Okay, so the one which completely consumed limits the extent of the reaction, so that it is called actually limiting reagent. And one which remains in excess, okay, that is called excess reagent. Do you understand now? So let us see the definition now. When a reaction is carried out using non-stoichiometric proportions, okay, non-stoichiometric proportions in the sense, if you are taking unbalanced amount, okay, unequal amounts of reactants, then the product yield will be determined by the reactant, that is one which is completely consumed. So it limits the further reaction to taking place, or it limits the extent of the reaction, so that it is called limiting reagent. Okay, so the other reagent which are present in excess, that is remaining, okay, the remains are said to be excess reagents. Okay, so for example, let us see sulfur and fluorine. Okay, sulfur and fluorine. So initial amount of sulfur and fluorine is 3 moles and 12 moles. That means starting we are taking 3 moles of sulfur and 12 moles of fluorine. Okay, so this is the quantity we are taking. Right. Then according to the balanced equation or a stoichiometric proportion, reaction between sulfur and fluorine is given by sulfur when reacts with 3 moles of fluorine 1 mole of sulfur reacts with the 3 moles of fluorine. That gives the product 1 mole of sulfur hexafluoride. Okay, this is actually a balanced equation, stoichiometric equation. Okay, so according to the stoichiometric, 1:3 ratio reacts, isn't it now? 1 mole of sulfur reacts with the 3 moles of fluorine. So we are taking actually 3 moles of sulfur. So just to double that, 1 mole of sulfur can able to react with the 3 moles of fluorine. Then 3 moles of sulfur can able to react with 3 into 3, 9 moles of fluorine. Isn't it or not? 9 moles of fluorine. So 3 moles of sulfur can react with 9 moles of fluorine. This is according to our balanced equation, stoichiometric proportion, 1:3 ratio. So according to our amount taken, 3 moles of sulfur can able to react with 9 moles of fluorine. So how much is remaining now from 12 moles? 9 moles only can be reacted with the 3 moles of sulfur. So remaining 3 moles of fluorine is present in excess. Okay, present in excess. So fluorine is here excess reagent, and the one which is completely consumed, that is nothing but sulfur, which is called actually limiting reagent. Okay, so according to this concept, sulfur is considered to be the limiting reagent since it is completely consumed, and fluorine remains excess. 3 moles of fluorine is remaining in excess, so it is called excess reagent. So let us see one more problem, example problem, to understand the concept in a better way. The problem is, in a process, 646 gram of ammonia is allowed to react with 1.144 kilogram of carbon dioxide to form urea. So this is a chemical reaction about between ammonia and carbon dioxide, so that we can get the product urea. Okay, so it is a reaction between ammonia and carbon dioxide. Ammonia, it is given as 646 gram, and carbon dioxide, it is given in kg, 1.144 kilogram. So from this given data, they just asked two questions. One is, if the entire quantity of the reactants is not consumed in the reaction, which is the limiting reagent. So they have taken that they actually meet when we take non-stoichiometric, that is unbalanced, okay, non-stoichiometric proportions of reactions, then okay, which is completely consumed in the reaction, that means which is the limiting reagent, that is the question, first question. And okay, the next question, second question, calculate the quantity of urea formed and unreacted quantity of the excess reagent. So just they asked the amount of product. Urea is nothing but the product formed, isn't it or not? So they just asked the amount of product formed urea, and they asked which is act as the excess reagent, that is unreacted quantity means remaining, which present in excess. They just asked. Okay, so let us write the balanced equation for this reaction, ammonia and carbon dioxide. Ammonia, the formula is NH3. Carbon dioxide formula is CO2. When it reacts, it gives the product urea. Urea, it's a kind of amide. The formula is NH2CONH2 plus byproduct of water is obtained. Okay, so the balanced equation for this is 2 moles of ammonia react with 1 moles of carbon dioxide and gives 1 mole of urea and 1 mole of water. This is the balanced equation. Okay, so let us write from this balanced equation, let us write what are the given observations we just observed from a balanced equation as a tabular column. We are just going to write down as a tabular column. So let us see the next one, the tabulation about the balanced equation. Okay, so let us write a stoichiometric coefficients of the equation. From balanced equation, we know stoichiometric coefficient of ammonia is 2, carbon dioxide it is 1. Then from regarding product side, for urea, stoichiometric coefficient is 1, and water it is 1. Then let us convert them into moles. We can also take them as moles. Okay, so number of moles of reactants that is allowed to react. So in order to find out number of moles, we just divide mass by molar mass. Okay, mass of ammonia is given in the problem, that is 646 gram. Okay, and then ammonia molar mass you have to find out. How should you find out molar mass ma? So you have to add up the atomic masses of individual elements present in a compound. For example, ammonia, the formula is NH3. So you have to add up the mass of nitrogen as well as 3 hydrogen atom, so that you can get 17. So how, let us see. For atomic mass of nitrogen is 14 and per hydrogen it is 1. For 3 hydrogen it is 3 into 1. So if you add this value you can get 17 gram per mole. This is actually molar mass of ammonia. Okay, so this is actually they substituted in the formula. Mass, given mass is 646 gram divided by molar mass is 17 gram per mole. So if we simplify this value we can get 38 moles. Okay. Then for carbon dioxide, in a similar way you have to find out the molar mass. For carbon the atomic mass is 12, per oxygen atom it is 16. For 2 oxygen atom it is 2 into 16. So 12 plus 32, how much pa? You can get 44 gram per mole. This is for carbon dioxide, the molar mass of carbon dioxide. So according to the problem, the carbon dioxide mass is given. It is actually 1.144 kilogram. Convert them into gram. Okay, it is given in kilogram. Convert them into gram. If you convert them into gram, multiply by 1000. So you can get 1144 gram. Okay, right. So 1144 gram divided by actually it is given wrong here. It is 44. Okay, printing error. 44 gram of carbon dioxide. So if you simplify these two values you can get 26 moles of carbon dioxide, right? Then products we actually don't no need. From reactant side only we come to know which is going to be the limiting reagent and which is going to be the excess reagent. Okay, so we just calculate for reactants, no need for product. Then actual number of moles consumed during the reaction. So 38, we are taking 2 moles of ammonia. According to the balanced equation, 2 moles of ammonia can react with 1 mole of carbon dioxide. So let us assume it is 2 moles of ammonia is 38 moles. So 38 moles can react with actually according to the equation, ammonia 2 moles, carbon dioxide 1 mole. That is, they just react in the ratio 2:1. Okay, so the ratio 2 is considered to be 38, means the out of that half of that is nothing but 1 ratio. So 1 ratio is 19 moles. So 38 moles of ammonia can react with the carbon 19 moles of carbon dioxide. Do you understand what I am saying now? So according to the balanced equation, okay, 2 moles of ammonia can react with 1 mole of carbon dioxide. That is, they are just reacted in the ratio 2:1. 2 moles, okay, that is the ratio 2. We just consider it is 38 moles. Then half of that is nothing but 1 mole. So from 38 moles, what is the half of that? 19 moles. That if it is considered to be, it is 2 ratio, means half of that is 19 moles, which is considered to be 1. So it is 2:1. Okay. So 19 moles of carbon dioxide can be reacted. Okay. Now the initial amount we are taking, ammonia is 38 moles. Then amount consumed during the reaction is also 38 moles. Then carbon dioxide, initially we are taking 26 moles. Then amount consumed during the reaction is only 19 moles. So what is remaining actually? 26 minus 19, 7 moles are remaining. And which is completely consumed? Ammonia is completely consumed because there is no nil amount. Okay, it's 0 amount is present. So it is just completely consumed. Then regarding product reacted in the ratio 1:1. There is 1 mole of urea and 1 mole of water is formed. So 1:1. Product is not reacted actually. We are getting the product in the ratio 1:1. Okay, so we know ratio 1 is nothing but 19 moles. So 19 moles of urea is formed and 19 moles of water is formed. So these are actually the data observed from the balanced chemical equation. Okay, So from that we are going to answer for the question. So let us see the question. The first question they have asked, which is considered to be the limiting reagent. We know very well now which is completely consumed during the reaction. Ammonia is completely consumed. So ammonia is considered to be the limiting reagent, and which is present in excess. Carbon dioxide is actually present in excess. So carbon dioxide is considered to be the excess reagent. So let us see the answer for the questions. Okay, the first question, ammonia is consumed during the reaction. Entire quantity of ammonia is consumed. So ammonia is the limiting reagent. Carbon dioxide is unreacted. That is 7 moles of carbon dioxide is remaining unreacted. So carbon dioxide is the excess reagent. Okay. Then for the second question, quantity of urea formed. So in order, quantity means the amount, or you can say given mass. Okay. So in order to find out the urea mass, you have to multiply number of moles of urea into molar mass. Just we are employing the simplest formula. In order to find out number of moles, we use the formula given mass divided by, okay, given mass divided by molar mass. In order to find out the mass of the substance, we just multiply number of moles into molar mass. That is the formula we are applying here. Number of moles of urea into molar mass of urea. Urea, what is the formula? NH2CONH2. So in order to find out molar mass, just add up the individual elements atomic masses. Nitrogen it is 14, per hydrogen it is 2. We have totally, or you can calculate to overall NH2CONH2. How many nitrogen is present? 2 nitrogen. Per nitrogen it is 14. For 2 nitrogen it is 2 into 14 plus for hydrogen it is 1. Here totally 4 hydrogen is present. So 4 into 1 it is 4. Then for carbon it is 12. We have only one oxygen atom, it is 16. So if you calculate this, you can get 2 into 14, 28 plus 4 plus 12 plus 16. So how much you can get? 12 plus 16, it is 28. 28 plus 4, 32. 32 plus 28, 40, 60. Okay, so totally we are getting 60 gram per mole. That is actually the molar mass of urea. Then from the tabulation, number of moles of urea formed is 19 moles. Okay, that is a 1 molar. According to the stoichiometric equation, we are getting the ratio of urea as 1. Okay, according to 1 ratio, the moles obtained is nothing but 19 moles. That we calculated in the previous slide. 19 ratio 1, that means 19 moles of urea is formed. Okay, that's we are going to apply in the second question now. So number of moles of urea formed is nothing but 19 moles, and molar mass of urea is 60 gram per mole. So if you multiply these two value, you can get 1140 gram. If you convert them into kg, or you can simply leave in gram, that doesn't need a, anyway they just convert them into kg. So 1140 divided by 1000, it gives 1.14 kilogram. Okay, then let us see another answer. Excess reagent left over at the end of the reaction is nothing but carbon dioxide. Okay, then they just find out the amount of carbon dioxide left over. They find out the excess reagent is carbon dioxide. We know it is 7 moles of carbon dioxide is present at the end. They just convert them into gram. Okay, in order to find out amount, they multiply number of moles of carbon dioxide into molar mass of carbon dioxide. Just now we find out molar mass of carbon dioxide is nothing but 44 gram per mole. Okay, so that's we are going to apply here. So 7 moles is remaining into their molar mass is 44 gram per mole. If you multiply these two value, we can get 308 gram of carbon dioxide. Okay, so from the question and from the data observed from the balanced chemical equation, we just find out which is the limiting reagent and which is the excess reagent. Ammonia is the limiting reagent, carbon dioxide is the excess reagent. Then the quantity of urea formed is nothing but 1.14 kilogram. Okay, then the excess reagent amount present is nothing but 308 gram. So if from a balanced equation we can infer these details. Okay, do you understand No? So, regarding chemical reaction, which is completely consumed during the reaction is said to be limiting reagent, and one which is present as remaining or in excess is said to be excess reagent. Okay, it depends upon the quantity we are taking during the chemical reaction. If it is a balanced chemical equation, we couldn't infer which is limiting and which is not, which is an excess reagent. If you are taking non-stoichiometric proportions of reactants, in that conditions only we could infer which could be a limiting reagent and which could be an excess reagent. Okay. So let us see the remaining concepts in the next upcoming video. So please give me valuable feedback about my classes so that I can improve well. Then please like my channel, share my channel, and subscribe my channel. Please kindly press the notification symbol so that you can continuously get my notifications about my videos, upcoming videos. Thank you for watching. Thank you.